Hey, what's going on, guys? So the whole point of my page and all of my channels is to just help people fast track their goals and to use some of my own personal trial and error, what's worked for me and what hasn't, and learn from my mistakes and successes so that you can apply it to yourself and save yourself some time and frustration. I would have loved something like that when I was getting started, and somebody who was just really honest and didn't have anything to hide about whatever. So, I guess what I kind of want to talk about are like the pictures that you see on Instagram and stuff, and basically how everybody wants to look, both big and built well, and very lean. And so I'll give it to you very straight. Um, so you see like a post of mine recently say, and it's about a shoulder workout or whatever, or how to, just something like that. And you think like maybe, oh, if I follow this, then pretty soon I'm gonna have shoulders that look like that. Well, probably, probably not, unless you've been really at it for a long time and you have a lot of muscle built up. So first thing, in order to even see that and for have it to resemble that kind of an appearance at all, you've just really got to be very lean, and that's just a caloric deficit. Um, and then, of course, if you are already very lean, like you have a blatantly obvious six pack and stuff, then and you're not looking the way you want to any particular muscle, then it just needs to be built up. And fat loss should be occurring quickly. That should be something that happens very quickly. And if it's not, you're not doing it right. Your trainer, your coach, or whatever isn't helping you. It shouldn't be taking forever, or you're not disciplined, and you're never going to get the results you want until you can control your diet, and that is a very common problem. Secondly, though, it's hard for you to put on weight, and no matter what, you don't gain fat, no matter what you eat. That's a good thing, and um, then you just have to build, and you just have to be in a surplus. And the muscle building just takes a lot of time, no matter what. It does for anybody. It does for me. It does for anybody. So you just have to look at yourself, and I would encourage you too not to just lift the exact same stuff, but to really take a hard look or get somebody who knows what they're looking at. And I'm happy to help and give my blunt opinions as to what needs to be brought up, because we all like lifting the things that we're good at or strong at or whatever, but those are the things you don't need. Those are the things that should just play second fiddle to some of the weak points. And so for me, I'm always most excited seriously about bringing up whatever it is that I think is lagging. It could be shoulders, it could be legs, it could be upper chest, it could be whatever. So it's different for everyone, and that just takes time. And so there's a lot of different ways to go about it, and a lot of reputable people who do it differently. So I know people that look fantastic, um, you know, doing these big cuts and bulks, and people that do it the opposite way. And I think until you really know what you're doing, it's kind of just easier to go slow, to add a little bit or reduce a little bit. So then you're not just digging yourself into some major hole and really having to get out of it, and it can be kind of deflating. So if you've put on a little bit of fat and it's like, okay, well, it's only a little bit of fat, it's not going to be a big deal to peel this off. Oh well. Or I lost a little bit of muscle. I probably lost a little more than I should have, but whatever. It's not the end of the world. And also, you just have to remember, you're not gonna just lose fat without losing any muscle. It's impossible, and you're not gonna gain muscle without gaining fat. But the key is to just not have that, go wild. So, um, I'm happy to answer questions, but I really would encourage you to get an idea of what your baseline is, what your caloric needs are and your macronutrient needs are. And unfortunately, there's just no hard and fast rule. It's just person specific, and you're just gonna have to try. And I would go by the mirror more than anything. I'd take pictures. The scale, I wouldn't really depend on that too much. That's what I think. And it's again, it's not an exact science. Um, but I think what I would suggest for most people would be to get to a low body fat. And many reasons for this. I always think like your body's just more efficient. It's going to be working well as far as nutrient partitioning goes when you do want to add. And you're going to be lean, and you can see muscles working, and you can see if you're adding too much fat too quickly. So most people have a lot of fat to lose, even if you don't think you do. And also the benefit to that is you just look better. Like, there's a reason models are skinny and stuff, and why they just want you to be shredded on stage. It's because it looks better. Even if you're not as developed and you want to be bigger, you can't just have both necessarily. Not immediately. Not even in the first couple of years. It's a constant grind, constant work in progress. So I would always say, get to a point where you clearly have a six-pack, say, and where you're really defined and you can see all your separate muscles. Don't have to be like stage ready, but get nice and lean, and then you'll really be motivated too, because you just see how good you look, and you're gonna feel good too. And then go slow and work on the true weak points, and hit it a little harder on those days, and eat a little bit more food on those days. And then once you're feeling like, okay, I've built that up, and now maybe you're getting a little bit too fat, then you scale it back a little bit. And there's no especially if you're not competing or doing anything specific, there isn't a timeline. You could bulk as long as you want or whatever, or you could get lean and then just stay there. So for me, I always think I have something else to work on, and that's kind of what keeps me into it. It's just a different goal, and so I do bulk and cut, I guess, but it's very, very subtle. Yet it doesn't look like it. It looks like if you look back at pictures from like a year ago, it's really a night and day thing. And maybe the scale hasn't even changed at all. That's usually the case, or it's very, very minimal. And it's because I get really lean, and then I decide to add to what I perceive are my weak points. And in the past, I have just gone to town too much. You don't think you do, and it's easy to see, like online. Oh yeah, you need to eat this kind of crazy calorie count and all this kind of stuff, and it's just, no, you don't. You're just gonna get fat, I promise. You need to see how your body reacts, and again, it's easier to go slow, because then you can adjust. And then you take a picture and you say, oh man, actually I'm kind of fat. I need to scale it back a little bit. Or you say, wow, I'm really way too skinny, or this part is undeveloped, or whatever. And then you want to build that up. So happy to answer questions, because I went through a lot of this myself starting off, and even I would have considered myself fairly advanced, and I had been in the gym for a long time, but my diet and just the application of it was just a little off, and I would have saved myself a lot of energy and fast-tracked my progress significantly had I known some of this and applied it, more importantly. So good luck, and get back to me with specific questions. Happy to help.